You said we're gonna do something to your brain.
Welcome to Dead Air 4. Here's George. And me. This week we're talking about a ProPublica report on Justice Samuel Alito. Expensive vacations. We'll talk about Barry, which we watched this week. Implosions next to the Titanic. And maybe some other stuff.
Yeah.
Hello, George.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, good. And we'll also be talking about Russian Revolution.
Yeah, for a moment.
For
perhaps,
a moment.
Which could be out of date by tomorrow.
Surely it will
Once
be.
it comes out.
Yeah. And also, I guess before we start, very big thanks to Andrew from Atten Shea Films for hosting a stream with me on Monday. You can find the link to that stream in the description below if you're on YouTube, I think. Yeah, so where shall we start?
Yeah, well, would you like to...
Yes, Alito,
Perhaps...
that sounds great.
Okay, go for it. We both had some coffee this morning.
I had all coffee. Justice Alito, who is a Supreme Court judge... Be quiet, Clyde Moe. Justice Alito, who is a Supreme Court judge, had an article written about him in ProPublica where they pretty much level that he got a lot of special treatment on a free vacation in 2008 and then failed to recuse himself with Supreme Court rulings that involved the billionaire right-wing financier who is his friend, is not his friend, put him up in a hotel, introduced him to a few speeches. The ProPublica report came out on Tuesday night, and just before it came out, a few hours, Alito put out a rebuttal, even though he hadn't seen the publication yet, it hadn't been published, in the Wall Street Journal, kind of almost like questioning the definition of is. What the definition of is.
There were a lot of references to dictionary definitions
Dictionary
of terms,
definition.
and pretty much no mention of, morality or,
Yeah.
what's legally ethical, but no real mention of what's actually ethical.
Yeah, so more specifically, what happened is there are two people, Paul Singer, who's a billionaire, and Leonard Leo, who is also a billionaire. He's a hedge fund manager, and I think I'm right in saying he was one of the founders, and he is the co-chairman of the Federalist Society. The Federalist Society is meant to be an apolitical think tank, forum for lawmakers to talk about things. It was really, in the 80s, it was founded kind of as a response to perceived liberal lawmaking. And 6 of the current Supreme Court justices have, or are, I suppose they have been, members of the Federalist Society. Senator Ted Cruz is a member. The current director of the FBI is a member. And it looks a lot like they courted Alito and Clarence Thomas, for political leverage and for help with Supreme Court cases, specifically the rulings that involve these people benefited their business.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that? Isn't it grand?
Yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, in reading both that and the ProPublica report on basically the same thing with Clarence Thomas, which came out not that long ago, what struck me in both stories was just the fact that, ProPublica points out that even, low-level government employees can't take, gifts without declaring it, right? And ethics law kind of requires that.
Yeah, the exceptions are things like dinner.
Yeah, if you have dinner at a friend's house, then lodging and the dinner you don't have to report if it's at their private residence. Compared to what Clarence Thomas was doing, getting $500,000 trips around the world on super yachts catered by private chefs and just basically
sort of
massive gifts.
It's not like they're non-tangible gifts, but not like they were giving him sports cars.
Yeah.
They were giving him experiences.
Trips. Yeah, he went on a trip, ProPublica said, once a year for the last 20 years. Funded by, God, what was his name?
Leonard Leo.
No, the real estate magnate.
Paul Singer.
No, that's Alito.
Right.
Can't remember the dude's name, sorry. Anyway, same thing in kind of both stories, like going on trips, and like ethics experts say that under the law, the actual travel and then lodging at like hotels and resorts should have been disclosed, and they didn't disclose any of them. And from what I understand, Alito's response is more or less, from what I read in his op-ed.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, just saying like, he doesn't think any reasonable person would think that this would cause him to have to recuse himself, because one of the key things is that the Supreme Court is really only accountable to the Supreme Court. Like, if a judge should recuse himself from or herself from a case, they are the one who makes that decision, like whether it's ethical or not.
Yeah.
So there's kind of no other, like, higher accountability.
Yeah, unless they all turn on one person.
Yeah.
Which seems unlikely. Okay.
Yeah.
So, is the Supreme Court corrupted?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so.
Is it compromised?
Well, what's interesting is that the idea that one of the reasons that they have lifetime appointments is so that they can be outside of, like, the political sea. You know what I mean? So they can have a, further back, like, perspective. But
The same argument for kings and lords.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they're not corrupt.
But there shouldn't there be some kind of accountability? I mean, I guess technically Congress could do something, but, yeah, I mean...
You have an ultra court.
Yeah.
And then who will govern the ultra court?
Yes.
Mega court.
Mega court.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, well, do you want to talk about, like, what would you do to fix it? Or do you want to... I mean, to me, the whole Alito... Clarence Thomas having documented gift-taking, I mean, I suppose you could argue, whether it was right or not. I think it clearly wasn't. But that would lead me to believe there's other things that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And, and, you've got 6 Federalists, 6 Federal Society, FedSoc, sitting on the Supreme Court. The whole Federalist Society seems to be about sort of shifting the judiciary right, but also corporate right. I know that, like, right-wing now kind of seems to mean that, like pro-corpo, but it didn't necessarily used to mean that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then you've got Leonard Leo, who's worth, like, he's got a hedge fund of like 50 billion, saying that ProPublica's article is just another attempt to get woke billionaires to siphon dark money to undermine the Supreme Court. Like, woke billionaires, what is that? And you're the one with like 6 people on the fucking Supreme Court. It's like the Illuminati, like, coming, like, can you sort these people out? They're trying to set up a secret society.
Yeah, well, I mean...
I'm not saying it's a secret society, by the way. I'm just, what I mean?
I get you, yeah. But it is a club,
It's definitely a club.
Of people who,
help each other.
Help each other, have the same interests. And that's one of the arguments that...
Have an ideological interest and an interest in enriching themselves.
Yeah, I mean...
Primarily.
Well, like, going back to, like, the nepotism video, like... makes me think of that, like, so much of the problem isn't what we'd think of as, like, quid pro quo influence. Like, there's no indication that, like, say, Clarence Thomas went on a luxury fishing vacation, and that, was asked by interest. Specifically, can you rule in our favor? But he did then rule on cases, on a lot of cases that had to do with real estate law, which did directly benefit his friend who paid for all this stuff, who also, like, paid for, like, his nephew that he's raising as a son to go to a private school.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I think it can be difficult to sort of envision it because it's all, just people on the golf course, people talking. Like, if you were to make a film of it, it's not dramatic at all. Not enough car chases. But... like, I think a really good way to sort of understand how it works is, like, look at a mafia film. Like, we watched Goodfellas recently. I can't think of a specific example, but, it's so-and-so's got a problem, we're the mafia, we'll help. and then they'll help us. I don't know what I don't have a specific thing I want them to
It's not a
help us
direct
with.
trade, but like you'll owe us one.
Yeah,
maybe,
you know,
maybe
in
even
5
just-
years' time, maybe you'll be in a position where you can help us. Maybe it won't even be illegal.
Yeah, and or maybe it's, you know, probably I imagine the argument that one of the arguments that somebody would make is that well, you know, I'm Alito, like I'm friends with Leonard Leo because we care about the same things. We have the same conservative values. You know, we have the same feelings about tax code, about whatever it is. So yeah, of course we get along, and of course I'd want to, you know, I'm fighting for things that I care about. He fights for things that he cares about, and they're just unrelated. But then why not pay for your own luxury fishing vacation? Why take a trip on, you know, private jets for free? And didn't Alito say like, well, I didn't actually have to declare the ride on the private jet because it was just an empty seat?
I don't know if he said he didn't have to declare it, but he argued it wasn't, you know, there was no like monetary value attached to it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, that's spurious, obviously.
Yeah, and the same with Thomas. Some of the trips that he went on, like the flights alone, I want to say there was one, I might be confusing it. I want to say there was one where he took to Alaska as well for like a luxury fishing thing, and the actual flight alone was valued at like $100,000 one way on a private jet.
Yeah. I'll just walk.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, if you're just hanging out with friends, then why are they paying for things for you? Why are they paying for your child's education? Why are they paying for private chefs on your super yacht? Can't they just pay their own way, and then it's not, you know, anything to be concerned about?
I don't know about being like a beat cop, but I definitely know in like state police in America, maybe not everywhere, and definitely like in the FBI, they say to you when you join, like, you cannot associate with criminals. Like, if you have a brother who, you know, is not a criminal now, but like went to jail when he was 20 for dealing weed, can't associate. Maybe it's not that strict, but like that makes sense. And there's an element of sacrifice. Like, I am in this position of power, and it should be the same for justices. Like, I don't think there should be rules of like, you're a Supreme Court justice, you can't be friends with certain people.
Yeah.
But like, for God's sake, like, don't, you know, sacrifice that, because what you're doing is more important than being friends with a billionaire and going on a fucking fishing trip.
Yeah, or like, you know, or like, say I have a friend who
Let's imagine.
paints me portraits of myself and helps me create statues to my 7-foot tall statues to my childhood favorite teacher.
And his name's Leonardo.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Could you give me a bit of a bigger penis, to be honest? I like the way you've made my pecs, Leonardo, but yeah.
yeah.
Just put a little flower on it.
It just, I think that the average person would find it hard to separate stuff like that. You know, buying gifts is one thing, and then like sucking their dick in public is also like another thing. Do you know what I mean?
Like, have you ever had a friend who's quite a bit more wealthy than you? You have? Did you find that they ended up paying for things?
No.
Right, okay.
No.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's healthy, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I had a wealthier friend who was also my employer. And I mean, maybe that was more to do with it, but it was definitely like, oh no, I'll pay for anything. I know how little I pay you. You want to come to the movies with me?
Yeah.
Me and, you know, someone else who's like a mutual friend. You know, I'll pay for your ticket. But there's always like an element of like owing.
Yeah. I think it's
know.
kind of natural to feel that way.
Like, and I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, I mean, it could even be subconscious, you know, just like you have positive feelings about that person because they do nice things for you. You know, I think that we're all susceptible to having more positive views of people who are nice to us, you know.
I think it was telling that in Leonardo Leo's response to ProPublica about this is an attempt to get a woke billionaire to funnel dark money against the Supreme Court. I think it was telling that he only sees influence as belonging to the wealthy, the very wealthy. Like, he's not saying, like, this is just to make people angry about the Supreme Court. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you might piss off another rich person who does have the resources to challenge me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you piss off 25% of the electorate, fuck them. What are they going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it probably is like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a real threat.
Yeah.
But it's also telling that Leonard Leo isn't like coming out talking about how much dark money he sends places.
Yeah, $80 million to Republican causes over the last 10 years reported.
Yeah.
So who knows what else?
Yeah, I mean, like, things aren't always direct, sorry that the name still escapes me. Clarence Thomas's friend, the billionaire friend, real estate mogul. I'll put the link to the articles in the description. It's worth a read, both of them.
Should we give him a name?
Sure, give him a name. I can't remember what it is. It's something banal.
Okay, then Chumley Jones.
Okay, so Chumley Jones. Okay, I gotta remember what I was gonna say because that's funny.
Yeah.
Chumley. The best I can do is $5.
He's a sharp one, that Chumley.
Yeah.
He's got his whole pattern. Or don't make me start talking about porn stars.
Oh yeah, let's just pause for a moment, and then we could possibly diverge. Yeah, like so Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas, founded a Tea Party group. And she was obviously involved with the January 6th stuff. And
she was texting people, egging it on, like.
Oh yeah, that's
like
a whole
senior
other thing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But Chumley donated $500,000 to this fund. That she's the founder of and makes $120,000 salary on.
Yeah.
How can you think that doesn't influence somebody in some way?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even if it is, I think, isn't that what ethics laws are for? Not even just like to prevent like quid pro quo sort of, just straightforward bribery, but also just to address like the appearance of malfeasance, and like the opportunity for ethics violations to occur. Am I wrong in this? Let me know, lawyers.
I think that when you get to like the Supreme Court level, like again, especially, it's a lifetime appointment. You're one of the most important people in the country. You're probably really like in the top 500 people in terms of the impact you can have in the world. I think appearances do matter.
Yeah.
You don't just need to have a clean, honest, just, impartial Supreme Court. You need the appearance of that too, because it all rests, being a democracy, on the faith of the people.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just dangerous because it's corrupt and it's obviously all balanced for business and money making. I definitely don't think this should happen, but there is an opportunity here for some shrewd, well-placed person to say, look, the Supreme Court has been compromised. The Federalist Society is running a shadow government, or trying to. They've already got the FBI. So they've got law enforcement. So what that means is the people who have to handle it, the intelligence community, some very, very fun 3-letter organizations. And because it's a national security effort, we don't have to get warrants for wiretaps.
Yeah.
There's been a national emergency. The Supreme Court is compromised. We've removed them. I don't think that will happen, but there is an opportunity, and, who would do it? But there is an opportunity for a malevolent actor to seize on that.
Yeah.
And, try and, I don't know if it would be a coup, but a judicial coup.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think the sad truth is that the core of what we're talking about here, like separated from the Supreme Court, is just the way money and power can influence people on either side of the aisle. Like, I don't know, what is it? Just like people don't want to just do the right thing. Like I'll do the right thing according to what I think, and also make a little bit of money off of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just sounding like yelling at clouds now, but surely somebody wants to just actually do the right thing. I guess not. I mean, my other thing I'll say is that, I want to make it clear, like, from my end, just the fact that we're talking about, like, these two conservative justices isn't important to me. Like, if...
That they're conservative.
If Kagan or Sotomayor are doing this shit, if Ginsburg had done this shit, I want to know.
Yeah.
Because that's corrosive to the entirety of the court system.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, Yeah, I think it's appalling and dangerous, and the only thing that sort of gives me hope rather than reform is you don't buy power. And I think a big mistake people fall for is they think they can. You can only rent it, and all it takes is a billionaire dying of just natural causes. I mean, I can't remember, was it Paul Singer or Leonard Leo just received a $1.4 billion donation from a 91-year-old? All it takes is someone like that, some sugar daddy dying, or changing their mind, and things can go very differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
I mean, I'm hopeful that, we're just one generation of old farts dying of old age before we can get some just reform, not even like ideological reform, just reform in terms of like we have to keep the courts clean.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the long-term course of history, things trend overall toward progress, but who knows what kind of bumps are in the way.
Until they
Do you know
don't.
what I mean? Yeah, until they don't, yeah. Until somebody else rises into the same position and does the same things.
Cabaret.
So, I mean, well, what are some actual reforms that might help? I mean, I've read...
Get out of here, Hollywood! Undercover.
Don't say it.
From McMillions. No.
I know, I'm just saying don't say that thing that you say.
No, he wants to go undercover all the time. I'm saying
I
put
know.
McMillions under there. The Supreme Court will be dazzled.
Undercover.
By his golden suit.
Yeah, so he goes in a golden suit and becomes a Supreme Court justice.
And they're like, well, we weren't going to hear any of this, but he's wearing a golden suit. And he's like, they think it's gold. I told them it was gold, they think it's gold.
Yeah. If you haven't seen McMillions, it's kind of boring, some of it, but the parts featuring that FBI agent who, it's about uncovering the big McDonald's Monopoly scam that was going on for years. And there's this one FBI agent in Florida who is hilarious.
Yeah. I'm desperate to go undercover.
And all he talks about is wants to go undercover.
He's like the least
what
appropriate
if I do
person.
an accent?
He's like really memorable. So yeah.
It's very memorable, yeah. Anytime he's on screen.
How would you, what would you do? I mean, I came up before with the College of Justice.
Yeah,
in Alaska.
That is something that, that has been proposed.
They will live together
as,
in a castle.
Yeah, just instead of having lifetime appointments for Supreme Court justices, some people have suggested you could do like a rotating series of federal judges, for like set periods of time, like a pool of however many 100 federal judges, and you just like rotate out, so there isn't any, lifetime group of arbiters of our fates.
Do you think it's weird that the same 9 people have to work out like really detailed financial litigation about like Argentina owing $2.4 billion and then have to go and talk about like Roe v. Wade and then have to talk about like stand your ground? Couldn't you have like the Supreme Court Justice of Family Affairs, of Family Law, the Supreme Court Justice of International Law, the Supreme Court Justice of...
Well, when the Supreme Court was, kind of designed,
I
guess things just weren't that fucking complicated,
That would be 2 sheep for you and 1 sheep for you, and I won't hear any of it, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they...
I'm going back to my farm in Virginia now.
Yep.
Until next term.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take a slave on your way out there.
I love when you
do
American. That's funny.
No taxation without representation, I'll tell thee now.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean...
Slaves for all, though.
Yeah.
Get that woman out of my sight. I went to Saudi Arabia last year and found a burger.
Mm-hmm. What else you got?
Oh, land of liberty. What? Supreme... Okay, how else?
Getting rid of... imposing term limits. Yes, the superhero college of justices, as you suggested. No.
I don't think they'd be superheroes. They'd basically be in a gilded cage. Observation at all times. You want to be a justice, this is what you're signing up to. It's an honor. You will be under surveillance at all times. Cameras everywhere will be monitoring your blood pressure. Everything you look at will be like, why did they look at that? Yeah?
What else?
Forget about your bank accounts, right? This is a food stamp. Right? It's still like a banquet. It's still not like a Skyrim-esque banquet every day.
Skyrim banquet, so
Yeah.
there's like 10 food items, but lots of them. Wheel of cheese.
This is Clarence
Goat
Thomas
leg.
eating like a chicken and a wheel of cheese. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another possible thing would be to have like institute a sort of independent ethics board.
But then who oversees them?
Congress.
But then who oversees them? The Supreme Court justices is all a big circle.
It's supposed to be us who oversees them. Yeah.
What, me and you?
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, they love that if I just came in with a clipboard.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure everything's running okay.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of shit there. MTG.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, not being a lawyer or having any kind of expertise in this area, I don't really know how plausible some of those solutions are, big term, but I think that something should prevent the people who are like in charge of like a lot of important facets of our lives. They should be held to some kind of standard about receiving gifts from friends.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if your local like
I actually think that
like police commissioner can't take or something, can't take gifts from people without disclosing it at least.
Like, can't take anything over $50 worth.
Yeah, and
Like,
for the Supreme Court, it's like over like $400 something dollars.
So you're just like giving him bottles of Svedka all the time.
Svedka. Yeah.
Premium.
Have some cigarettes.
I think you actually came up with it. I don't think it would be too hard of a stretch to have a pool of like 200 people, and then you could just put all those names in a tombola. Mm-hmm. Like the people ruling on this will be, Clive. Fuck, he's an idiot. Well, the tombola decided.
Yeah. Yeah, something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, moving on.
Moving on, sure. Yeah, I think so. Sorry, I'm sniffly today. Our neighbor was mowing the lawn for like 3 hours earlier, and it's filled my brain.
Well, thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like there it is again. Yeah. Anyway, should we move on to Barry?
Sure.
Sure.
Barry.
What's Barry?
Okay, Barry is a TV show. It's a 4-series TV show on HBO, starring Bill Hader as a Iraq War, Afghanistan War veteran who goes to LA on a hit and discovers he possibly loves acting.
Yeah, he was a Marine in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Did some unsavory things while he was there. Got, I guess, discharged. Came back and then became a hitman, basically, for his buddy, Milton.
Buddy/uncle?
Yeah, like, he's described him as, like, close family friend or something, yeah. Maybe his uncle.
Milton, who are you going to say?
Milton.
Stephen Root. Is it Stephen Root?
Stephen Root, that's
Stephen
right.
Root.
Yeah. Milton from Office Space.
Yes.
He goes on a hit for Milton and follows the mark into an acting class run by Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
Gene is the character's name.
Mm-hmm.
And thinks he falls in love with acting.
Yeah.
And then has to kind of reconcile his desire to become an actor and having a crush on a girl in his class with also being a hitman.
Yeah.
Which he kind of tries to get out of at various points and always gets sucked back in.
Yeah, and he...
That's kind of a non-spoiler.
Essentially ruins everyone's lives.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, we determined that he was basically Toki from Death Clock. He's the
Angel of Death.
The Angel of Death, yeah. Like, even when he's not trying to hurt anybody, people just end up dying around him.
So it sounds like a sitcom, but it's not. It's more in the same vein, I'd say, as Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, where there is a story and there is progression. Mm-hmm. And did you like it?
I did like it, yeah. I didn't love it, but
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I watched the whole thing, so, and it wasn't a hate watch by any means. I was interested. Yeah. The episodes are only like 30 minutes long,
Yep.
as I recall, so it does feel like it moves pretty quickly.
It did move quickly.
Things do happen every episode.
Yep.
And, yeah, did you like it?
I did like it. I thought the acting was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought especially the action scenes were like some of the best action scenes I've seen on TV they were like some of the best action scenes I've seen on movies.
Yeah, I guess
they were usually Yeah, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I guess in spoiler talk we can talk about some of those.
Yeah, I mean, I won't spoil anything. Just like they're often understated, but very. No, I mean they're not always super realistic, but they feel cathartic and weighty.
Yeah, and they're also like relatively simple to the point of being believable.
Yes.
You know, but also having like some intensity to them, and yeah, I thought the action was some of the best parts as well. Very well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the characters.
We love NoHo Hank.
NoHo Hank is probably my favorite.
Who's he played by?
What was his name? Is it Gregory something? I looked at it earlier. This is the only person whose name I cannot remember.
Okay.
And which is a shame because he's great. He was one of the best.
Well done, Chumley Jones.
I can look it up. My phone's right there.
No.
Okay. Well done, Chumley. Everybody's Chumley.
He was great. They were all great. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about it?
In terms of non-spoilers.
What do you want to just spoilers?
Yeah, okay, spoilers.
Okay, go on then.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I think that something it did really well was it is a very funny show. Some very funny characters.
With some very serious
and
moments.
There's also some very serious moments, and like the general storylines are like fairly serious. And it really rides that line in a way that I think was really commendable. I think it's hard to do that. To have like something that has great action scenes and genuinely tense moments, and moments where you're like, yeah, Barry, kill him, you know, and also make you laugh a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of difficult to do that without like falling too hard into one genre or another, and like disrupting the flow of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think it did that really well.
There weren't any spoilers in there.
Yeah, well, damn. All right. Spoilers start now.
Okay, spoilers start now. If you are watching on YouTube, I guess you'll put a chapter when we stop spoiling things.
I will.
I think, I was thinking about it, and I did like it, and it takes a very, I wouldn't say weird turn, but it takes an unexpected turn in the last season where we jump ahead in time by quite a while.
Like 8 years.
And Barry, I mean, he changes a bit, but he's way less likable.
Yeah.
In the second half of the fourth season, would you agree with that?
Yes.
And it's kind of clear. I mean, I think it was kind of clear from the beginning. Like, oh, I wonder how they'll end this. They'll probably kill Barry.
Yeah, it's not going to end well for Barry. We both predicted.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And it does end in a very unexpected way, where Barry is killed by Jean, and then there is basically ends with Barry's son watching a Netflix show which shows Barry to be a hero.
Yeah.
Murdered by Jean, which didn't happen.
And Jean is in prison then.
And Jean is still in prison.
And throughout the show, Jean is like, not a bad person.
I mean,
and had
he's
nothing
a
to
dickhead.
do with. Yeah, I mean, what happens?
A recovering dickhead.
There's a series of murders throughout the first 3 seasons that kind of escalate.
Yeah.
And Jean, his acting coach, falls in love with this detective lady who's working on a murder case that she was investigating at the acting school that Barry did.
That Barry did.
And then she finds out, was it the end of season
1?
Was it 1?
Where she's killed.
Yeah, she discovers that it was Barry, like in the last episode.
And he kills her.
So then, a series of murders that all escalate into Barry, like the police seem like they're hot on his tail sometimes, and then they back off, and it's not sure. So he ends up disappearing with, what was her name? Sally. From his acting class, who he falls in love with, who seems to like him, but also is obsessed with like becoming a famous actor more than anything. And about halfway through the last season, they disappear to like bumfuck Utah or something. Yeah. And like try to live a normal life with their son they have for the next 8 years. Very weird turn to do like that big of a time jump. But I did not dislike it. It was unexpected.
So I guess it was genuinely an unexpected ending. Not the death of Barry, but like the way it did it. And I kind of feel like the point of it was, these things just happen. kind of adaptation style. Like, I want to write a story where no one learns anything. Kind of, people change and things, but it's just kind of like, this is something that happened that we made up. And I'm not really criticizing it for like doing that, but it did leave me a bit cold. And it obviously is a bit fantastical. It's an absurd-ish world where Barry is getting away with these things that he would never get away with.
Yeah.
Like, he crashes his car like every episode.
Yeah.
Like, a cop is going to pull you over if you are driving around LA with like a car that's obviously been in a car crash with like a bullet hole in the window. Things like that. And I guess there are holes, if you think about it, like purely logically. Like, there are so many people who Barry left alive who ID'd him.
Yeah.
There's that little girl,
Witness
that
all
karate person. Like, did none of those people come forward with Gene going to jail to say, Barry shot my friend?
Yeah, it wasn't Gene.
It wasn't. I mean, there were loads of people who had ID'd Barry.
Yeah, it is a bit, and that's where I think there's times where it leans kind of into absurdism, almost. Yeah, so there are logical problems, but overall, it worked for me. You definitely get the sense that events just keep snowballing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that was more of a choice than like a logical whole.
Yeah.
And I guess another thing, which again isn't a mistake or anything, but Barry is quite stupid. Barry is quite a stupid psychopath.
Yeah.
And
there were a lot of moments where you're like, what are you doing, Barry?
What are you doing, Barry?
Kill that person, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see what they're trying to do, like make it like he's struggling with that side of himself. He doesn't want to be a killer, but he's very good at it and finds himself kind of in these situations from his own choices and sometimes just randomly. But it was also a little bit frustrating that he's so good as an assassin in some setups and then makes really dumb choices in other places. So,
I mean, I think in the first season there's at least 2 times where the exact same thing happens. Someone can't aim at him with a rifle. And like he's sitting there, and in the first season the Chechens are shooting at him through the window, and they miss like 3 times before he's like, oh, these are bullet holes.
Yeah.
So like, thank God no one can shoot.
Yeah, there's
except Barry.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, to be fair, that was NoHo Hank, who is kind of ridiculous anyway, shooting through the window.
Yeah, but he wasn't shooting. It was the other guy, the guy in the slings. And the first
Yeah.
time it was top Chechen assassin at the top of the car. And there's Barry's very lucky, really.
Yeah.
He's got 10 in luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. And yeah, just some of the action sequences.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Like I said, very simple. Like there's one that's, he's on a motorcycle being chased by, was it the Bolivians? I can't remember.
No, it was just some random...
Some randies.
Motorbikers, and he might have killed one of them.
Who are like chasing him through traffic on the freeway. And he's like riding between these long lines of stopped traffic cars.
Yeah.
And the way that it's done behind him, like it's super simple, but like it feels like there's threat.
And you
like,
get the sound.
And the whole time you're watching, I kept like waiting for a car door to open.
Yeah.
Or somebody just lean out their car. Like it feels dangerous.
Yeah.
And then the end of that sequence was really fun as well, where they end up at like a used car lot, and Barry crashes his motorcycle, runs into the car lot, and then one of the Randy's shooting him with a machine gun on a motorcycle, like rides up some stuff to get on top of the building of this car lot, and then just starts like firing at people below. And it's all like one clean, smooth thing, and then the camera just stays there while you watch people screaming, and then someone comes out with a shotgun, shoots them, and it's all smooth. Like I think a less confident action scene would feature like 20 cuts there, I mean, we rewatched that bit like 3 times. Like, that was really well done.
That was really well done. He's on the roof. He's on the roof.
Yeah.
That was convincing.
And in the first season, we also rewatched several times the bit where Barry is approached by some baddies in a car who are like getting ready to shoot him. And again, like kind of one kind of smooth shot with Barry in front, and he just takes all of them out. And it's very quick.
And it's believable.
And it just hangs there on that shot. It's simple and believable. Nobody's doing, kung fu. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, even the bit where he has a martial arts fight with Taekwondo Olympic medalist.
Yes.
That's done very well. It
Yeah.
feels really real.
It feels like there's threat.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting out of breath. They seem like
Yeah.
they, you know, are actually in pain while it's going on.
And it manages to look not at all choreographed, and obviously it is. But Barry isn't a Taekwondo expert, so it's
Yeah.
not like they're both doing.
It's not dance-like.
Hayugen.
Yeah.
It's not dance-like.
There's some actual threat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was done really well, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the only exception with the action, like, I did feel with the... After he has this fight with the Taekwondo, like, Olympic champion, the guy's daughter comes home, and in a very funny scene, like, sees this, runs off, and Barry's like, "Where are you, little girl? It's not your relative?" After she yells, "Dad!"
Daddy, yeah.
when she comes in the house. Very funny.
Is that your relative?
Is that your relative? And then she comes out in, like, her Taekwondo outfit. And I felt that fight was a little bit ridiculous, where she's, like, you know, doing, like, Jet Li shit, like, jumping off of bookcases and flying. But it was also funny.
Yes.
You know, in that little bit of kind of unrealistic fighting. So it was amusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got some strings left untied with Sam and some other things. We never saw that little girl again.
Yeah.
Did she testify?
Yeah, there were elements where certain, like, story threads just kind of go away a little bit.
And yet, despite that, it was so much better than definitely any original, but yeah, I'd say any original series on Netflix.
Yeah, you kept
maybe
saying
not
that.
HBO. Sorry, maybe not Better Call Saul. But that was originally AMC, or at least Breaking Bad was. Well, anyway, the last thing I wanted to say was Streamberry.
Yeah, that's right. Streamberry.
Is this universe's Netflix. It even has the same, like, title screen and dun.
Yeah.
Obviously, you should have called it Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did you think about that? Because it was only, like, then I suddenly realised, like, oh, I'm not watching Netflix, am I? I'm watching HBO. Because originally I was like, God, Netflix, how lazy.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually kind
It
of
was toward
cutting.
the end where I was like, oh yeah, we're watching this on HBO. That's funny.
It was like a fuck you to Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Because they portray it, this streaming company that Barry's girlfriend, Sally, tries to go and work for. They portrayed it as incompetent.
Yeah, like her show gets canceled like immediately because
Even though it's got like a 98%.
it's got like a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
but the algorithm says people aren't interested.
After 12 hours.
After like 12 hours, yeah. Maybe even less, like a few hours.
And the
after.
creative director, or whoever she is just like...
Yeah. And then it's really funny when Sally comes back and tells Barry that the show's canceled, and he's like, well, do you know where she lives? and she's like, what would you do? I don't know. And he's like, well, I don't know, just mess with her. I'd go to her house and take a picture of her when she's sleeping and then put it in her mailbox. I'd replace her dog with a slightly different dog. Replace all the furniture with slightly bigger furniture in her house so she thinks she's shrinking. It's just very funny. Like, he's a psycho. But it's amusing, yeah.
Like, breaking into someone's house and taking a picture of it is one thing, but, like, the logistics of bigger furniture. Like, first you're going to have to break in and measure it.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have to go somewhere specialist to get it bigger. Then you're going to have to get it delivered while she's not there.
And move it inside.
And then you're going to have to get rid of the old furniture.
Yeah, just nonsense, yeah, but you can totally believe him that, like, he could definitely try and work that out. Or would.
Yeah. I think it would be better just to, like, break in and just, like, drink, like, 3/4 of her milk.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, rides that line well of kind of just straight up comedy, some dark comedy. You know, NoHo Hank is just like straight up comedy.
Yeah,
that guy's
but whilst
so funny.
feeling real and you like him, even though he's a
him.
terrible gangster.
Yeah, I wanted everything to work out for him in the end. He seems nice.
Yeah, and obviously Stephen Root's character, Fuchs. I'm waiting for a spin-off.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Family Fuchs.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really good too. When he comes out of prison and he's like covered in tattoos and, yeah, very funny.
Yeah, calling himself the Raven.
Yeah, shows up to Hank's new office. You know. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Hank.
Poor Hank.
Where he's talking to, what was the guy's name? His lover.
Cristobal.
Cristobal, yeah. after they get back together, after he's like rescued Cristobal, in like a really funny sequence.
What, the horrific sound
The
sequence?
horrific, the lion in the other room.
Oh
like,
yeah.
tearing
Oh
somebody
god,
apart.
yeah. The lion in
And
the other room.
Hank, like, it's a long sequence of him just
Yeah.
like listening to this. Yeah, but after they get back together and Cristobal's like, you kill some of my friends. No, Hank's like, you kill some of my friends. It's not important. You know?
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, but
Yeah.
I liked it. And I would watch it again at some point.
Yeah, I'd watch it again at some point.
Oh, you would?
Yeah, you know what I really like about it? That it has an ending.
Yeah.
You know?
As confusing as an ending might be,
Yeah.
it is definitely an ending.
It's an ending, and, you know, it's 4 seasons, you know, it was like 8 episodes each season, like 30 minutes long, so it doesn't feel, like, really stretched out. There is, like, some random stuff that happens, but it, like, adds to the flavor of it.
There's never just pure filler.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Fubar.
Like Fubar. That's right, yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Every time that Barry got pissed at somebody, you know, and it does that, like, wind noise and he's just staring, like, you know, I enjoyed that. Because it started training me to think, like, all right, this is, you know, it's funny, and also, like, Barry's gonna go kill some fuckers.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Good. Anything else?
No, I don't know what else I have to say about that. I did enjoy it.
All right.
Yeah.
What should we talk about next?
Yeah, what should we talk about next? Well, we mentioned Titanic implosions.
Yep,
You
there
want
was
to
a
say about that?
as you probably know,
Yeah.
there was a private submarine that went down to see the Titanic with 5 people on board, and catastrophic failure, and everyone died.
Yeah. Yeah. Why was it that there was catastrophic failure?
Because they didn't build it right, potentially.
Yeah.
It
And
was
like,
built of carbon fibre, which there's been video doing the rounds of the CEO saying, everyone told me not to use carbon fibre. Submarines aren't made of carbon fibre and titanium, but I used it. And all the comments on the different news articles I saw were people saying, I'm an engineer and carbon fibre has a pretty good tensile capacity but a pretty poor crush capacity. It's like completely inappropriate for a submarine. They'd used the submarine before and it worked.
yeah. Well, yeah.
But,
I mean, James Cameron works this shit out. With that.
well, yeah, I mean, this submarine apparently had a window certified to 1,300 meters, but they were going to 4,000 meters. People have said, like, maybe they should have had, like, if not a better controller than a Logitech 2010 controller, which has, like, Wi-Fi issues, which you can historically read about, apparently. Maybe have a backup. Maybe have a branded Sony one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like an Atari Joy-Con.
Yeah. Yeah, what were they saying about, like, the, like, head of safety at the submarine company?
He resigned, or maybe he was fired in 2018. Maybe he resigned, fired in 2018 because he refused to certify it because the windows weren't up to spec.
Yeah.
Or specifically, they didn't want... The manufacturer only guaranteed it to 1,300 meters.
Yeah, they couldn't, yeah. He wouldn't sign off on it being able to go to that crush depth because it wasn't certified for that.
Yeah,
and
and
for it.
with these things, as I understand it, there's a safety factor on different things, which basically means that if you expect something to go to 2,000 meters, you've actually got to go with a safety factor, which is usually 2.5 from what I understand. So if you wanted something to go to a crush depth of 2,000 meters, you actually have to manufacture it to be able to go to 4.5, because there are all sorts of, you know, factors we just can't even know to consider.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even with a safety factor of 2.5, that's not hitting 4,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
And the
indeed.
CEO who, you know, potentially, probably was responsible for this, was one of the passengers who died. Yeah, I mean, do you have anything to say about it other than, would you go into a submarine and go... No?
You go first.
I mean, I would.
Of course you would. You're crazy.
I wouldn't pay for it. If someone was like, do you want a free ride? I'll be like, I do want a free ride, because then, when I'm a justice, I can be like, it was free. Empty seat on that submarine.
Yeah.
Every time they went down, even though it was for profit and they were charging everyone 250 grand, they said that they had to have a research mission. Mm-hmm. What could that be?
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah, right.
Man, yeah. Compared to like 30 years ago, there's a bit more degradation. There's a bit more barnacle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'll have to say about it. Just obviously, like Twitter, social media was alight talking about this. You had, people talking about, it's crazy that everyone's talking about this submarine with a few rich people versus, this boat capsized off Greece where hundreds of migrants died or something. And then other people said, then the media gets to put out articles saying, it's very cruel that people would think that it's a good thing to wish for death of these rich people, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, just the media circus that you'd expect, basically.
I mean, I guess they're obviously, way more people die in tragedies all the time than 5 people in the submersible, and there should be more coverage of Greek migrant boats, or migrant boats to Greece, capsizing and killing, like, hundreds of people. But 1 million deaths is a statistic, and 1 death is a tragedy. You know, said that? Paul Weller.
Yeah.
No, Stalin. But it makes sense, right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, it was a unique thing.
Very unique. I mean, if it was a submarine full of, like, non-rich people,
I mean,
it would still be in the news.
I agree. And I certainly think that some people also kind of found the sort of irony of the situation interesting. They were going down to look at the Titanic, a boat that sank because people were warned that it wasn't really up to snuff, and then the same thing happens with this sub that's going down to see the Titanic.
I don't think the Titanic was not up to snuff.
No? I thought that they used, they didn't use, the proper metal for, some of the bolts and stuff like that.
Really?
They went cheap. Let's look, I thought I heard that somewhere, but...
But would that have made a difference? I mean, surely your problem was driving into a fucking iceberg.
Yeah.
Sausage.
Yeah. Clearly. Sausage. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I thought I read that somewhere, but take that with a grain of salt because I don't remember shit.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if anything, you could say that... I don't know. Maybe you're right, but the Titanic, the tragedy is really about... They didn't have enough lifeboats. They didn't know what to do.
Because it was unsinkable. They didn't really prepare properly for an emergency situation.
Yeah. Whereas this was, obviously unbelievably dangerous because you're going down to 4,000 meters. And, ironic, I suppose. And it was called the Titan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I saw a meme going around.
HMS Unimplodable.
There was a meme going around that was a big timeline, and it was deaths due to the Titanic. There's a big spike, and then a little insensitive.
It wasn't due to the Titanic.
I know.
It was due to, someone cutting corners, probably.
Yeah.
Perhaps. It didn't look like a great submarine to be in.
No. I mean, I saw a side-by-side of the interior of the sub compared to the interior of James Cameron's sub.
He's got a mini fridge with his roller colas.
Yeah. Right.
No, I remember James Cameron's sub.
It looked like something out of Subnautica.
It looked like something NASA had made.
Yeah.
Whereas this looked like something like Gary had made. You make down the welding shop, but you can get it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was interesting. Just seeing,
don't get me wrong, it looked impressive. Just
yeah, I can't do that shit.
No.
But I also would not be getting in there for anything in the world.
I just take them to a part of the sea which is quite shallow.
Just watch Discovery Channel.
And just take them to a different. Look at it. That's the Titanic. It says HMS Callisto. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Titanic. And actually, you've just been sitting there in this boat. It's taken you 4 hours to dive 100 meters. Yep, traveling at some speed now.
And just put them in. Yeah, just put a TV screen on the wall and say it's a window. You know, now we're heading down to the Titanic.
That's how planes work, because that's a whole fiction.
That'll be $250,000.
Planes can't fly. It is just like literally people putting scenery next to the thing, and then some people rocking the plane like, oh, I got turbulence.
The Earth is flat.
And then you get off and you're actually in the same place, and
Yeah.
people are like, morning, governor. That'll fool him. We
Yeah.
cannot let people know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to say about that?
Not really. Yeah. Yeah, not really.
R.I.P.
I saw like some dummies on Twitter talking about there's a conspiracy theory because the Navy heard a banging noise, but it's just nonsense. You know. I don't know.
Right, okay.
I don't know if I have anything else to say. Dead air.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What have we got next? Russia, Ukraine.
Oh yeah, do a mention of that since we just
Yep.
saw that today.
Well, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
So actually in Russia, not in Ukraine, there is a group called the Wagner Group. I'm sure most people have kind of come across it, but in case you haven't heard of it or you've forgotten, they're essentially a mercenary force that have pretty much historically been controlled by Russia. They're meant to be elite mercenaries. I think there's some question as to that. And their numbers are kind of opaque too. But most of the little successes that the Russian military have had in Ukraine have been thanks to the Wagner Group. And they're run by a guy called Prigozhin. And yesterday, so what would that be, Friday, the 23rd, there was some sort of rebellion. The Financial Times is calling it an attempted coup. I've seen writers call it a coup-cum revolt. Coup-cum revolt. A cum revolt.
Don't start.
And they have, they attempted to, from, again, what I understand, march on Moscow to the point where they loaded up some of their tanks. Be quiet, Vladimir. They loaded up some of their tanks onto the back of trucks, started driving them into Moscow, and a Russian army helicopter blew them up. So they've actually been fighting. The Wagner Group, Russian mercenaries, have been fighting the Russian armed forces, briefly. And as of today, Saturday the 24th, there's been some sort of deal with Lukashenko, who's the leader of, and more or less puppet of Putin. He's the leader of Belarus. He's brokered a deal where they're not going to march on Moscow now. Maybe they'll be given sanctuary in Belarus. It's kind of up in the air right now, and it looks like either the revolt failed or it was never meant to succeed. The stated intention of Prigozhin, who's the leader of this, was to remove disloyal and incompetent commanders, like in Russian super command, supreme command. So he said, he didn't say this specifically, but he said he's not going after Putin. He's going after the people who failed Putin. Now, maybe you just say that. But then Putin came out and said, basically, they're traitors. And then Prigozhin came out after that and said, the Russian president can't tell us what to do. We're the true sons of Russia. So I wonder, we're probably not getting the full story right now.
Yeah.
Did Prigozhin think that he could march on Russia and he was expecting other people to come in who didn't? That often works in coups. Some people know it's going to happen, and they're meant to say, yep, my troops are in too, but then they don't for various reasons. Did that happen?
Yeah.
One idea I've had that I haven't seen floated elsewhere, so maybe it's just completely bollocks. I wonder if Putin told him to do this to remove senior people near Putin who Putin would potentially like to remove, or at least could say he would like to remove, but with the real intention of removing Prigozhin, where, you pretend to have a coup, not against me, against the Russian deep state that's failing the Russian people. I'll give you all sorts of backing. I've got loads of friends who'll help you. That doesn't materialize, and then it's where do you go from here? Do you want a coup? Do you want to continue a coup where I'll destroy you, or do you want to, have a ceasefire and then, you're not going to get another opportunity at this.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't, if he's not removed soon, why wouldn't you remove him?
Yeah, I get you.
You could say, why would Putin do that? Because it makes him and Russia look incredibly weak. But I don't think he cares. I think if he sees Prigozhin as a threat, he'd go after him. Prigozhin claimed that Prigozhin claimed that this started when normal Russian army came into one of his camps and started killing Wagner. So maybe it's a reaction to a kind of Night of the Long Knives thing of Putin.
Yeah, right.
But if I wanted to get rid of Prigozhin, I wouldn't send troops in to get rid of him. I'd carpet bomb him.
Yeah, right.
Myself. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's developing,
It's
and probably
ongoing.
by the time you watch this, it will be out of date. But
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it really does make it look more and more like they won't just lose. You know, I think at the beginning of the war, losing was Russia going, fuck, all right, we're going back. But I think now losing is them losing Crimea, which is Ukraine. And I think that is not out of the realms of possibility. Like, that's very rare, right? For you to invade someone and then get so badly beaten, you have to concede not your own territory, but territory you're claiming as your own territory. Territory that they definitely had captured. They could have just not invaded Ukraine and held Crimea, right? It was, you know, sure, it's breaking international law, but they could have held it, and now maybe they can't.
Yeah, right.
I mean, talk about losing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll be keeping an eye on that. Yeah, I mean, by the time you see this, it may be over, but interesting stuff.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yep. Well, less serious. Billionaire fight.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are going to have a UFC cage fight. I guess.
UFC?
Yeah.
What,
I guess.
UFC is Ultimate Fighting Club? Is it?
Ultimate Fighting something.
With a C.
Championships? I don't know.
Ultimate Fighting Crew.
Ultimate Fighting Club.
Yeah.
Just talk that they may have
Versus the Mega Fight Gang.
a fight, a cage fight in Las Vegas that would be on pay-per-view for $100 a pop. And they predict that it could make $1 billion, but they'll do it for charity.
Right.
So I don't know. That's interesting. I mean,
Who floated that idea? It was Zuck, wasn't it?
See, some sources said that it was Zuckerberg's idea. Others said that Musk challenged him first. So, you know. Yeah, so what were we thinking when we read about this?
Immediately, I could hear Diana's voice going in my ear. That is Elon Musk. Emerald Air, automotive titan, yada yada yada.
And Mark Zuckerberg, robot.
Yeah. He has an implant in his brain. What I first thought was two tech billionaires tonight in one location, inches from each other. You know what to do, 47.
Yeah.
And like, how would that work? Like lighting rigs.
Yeah, it totally seems like a Hitman level.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
a lighting rig. There, you could maybe.
You could choke Zuckerberg, dress in his lucha libre mask.
Yes.
And then
Pretend
do a quick time
totally
event.
different body type, but
Yes.
pretending that you're Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
He's like 6 foot tall suddenly. Yeah.
Yeah, and bald.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
lucha libre mask. Lucha libre mask.
Maybe
covers it all.
maybe a slot machine that you rig to shoot coins out across the room. What else do we come up with?
Definitely
blow dart and a big hot dog.
Yep. Blow dog in a big hot dog. Definitely, you could have something with like a Tesla prototype suspended, and do something where you drop the winch and drop a Tesla on one of them.
Yeah.
That's
maybe there's like a big Godzilla statue, like breathing fire behind them, and you just.
A big Godzilla statue.
I don't know. That seems like something Hitman would do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose or you could dress as like the mascot, and then when you're in the ring with them. You could definitely dress as the referee.
Yeah.
That would be good.
That'd be good. And then...
convince, one of them, like, no, he's still free, and one of them chokes the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Hitman is a fun game.
That's what popped up. Hitman is a fun game.
Well, you were playing it recently, so...
Yeah, I was.
Of course. That's your natural first thought.
Yeah, and even with all those ironic things, still the best one is just... Like, throw the gun away, and then someone walks in like, what's happened?
Yeah.
What's happened?
Yeah. It's like, I know, it's always like, what's his name? I can't remember.
47.
47.
Yeah.
It's always like, sneak into a hospital and he puts on like a nurse's costume and he's like a bald dude.
With a really mean face.
It's time for your shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's times in it where you can take on the persona of someone who isn't bald, and people will say, cool haircut.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's all it takes. People are distracted by the baldness. How
many of those games do they make?
Oh, like 10 over the years.
Okay, I think I've only
that.
played like 2 of them, so...
Yeah.
I want to say the first one and one of the sequels.
Very absurd.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight all these, like, this elite unit, which is all women, and they're all dressed in PVC nurses' uniforms.
Yeah.
And none of them acknowledge that. Yeah. They're called the Saints, which means they're dressed as nuns. Mm-hmm. Not nurses, nuns.
Nuns, right, yeah.
Who thinks nuns are sexy?
There's something with a fetish for a fetish for anything.
I suppose
Any of it, There's somebody out there right now. Just, never mind.
I've seen sexier garbage men.
Yeah. Yeah. And fun, silly-ass game. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
So, what is this about? Like, why are they doing it, for real? Like, well, just give us $1 billion for charity, you fucking arsehole. Do you need the publicity?
Because they're attention whores, and
Zuck doesn't seem
they've
as
had
much.
beef for years,
So I don't want to say Zuck like I like the guy.
No, I don't like either of them. But I mean, to be fair,
Sugar Hill.
Mark Zuckerberg is, Elon Musk is like 6'5", I'm pretty sure, and Zuckerberg is like our size.
Yeah, but
seems a bit unfair.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is a husky 57-year-old gentleman.
That's true. He does have like 20 years on Zuck.
Whereas like Zuckerberg's like pow pow.
Yeah.
I learnt this in Roman school. Like I totally imagine Zuckerberg doing like a Tiger Woods thing, and like getting loads of people to train him in a paintball house, like, and him being like, I'm a Marine now.
Yeah. Or Bezos thing. Doesn't he do shit like that? Like, I'm training with the Marines today.
Yeah. Maybe.
I can't recall.
Imagine how fucking tempting that is if you're one of those Marines. Just like going back to Afghanistan and just like hearing Arthur's words, because you've been recently playing Red Dead 2, like, you want to be a rich man's toy? Take the shot. Take the shot. Mm-hmm. You enjoy all the killing, don't you?
In a video game.
In a video game. That's what I'm referencing.
Yes. Yeah.
Who would win?
Who would win?
Because you were saying Musk, huh?
No, I mean, Musk has the size advantage, but the question to me is, who is crazier?
Yeah. Dead air.
Quiet, Tilda Swinton. Yeah, because I think that's... I mean, I don't know much about UFC.
Tilda Swinton is a more appropriate name for a white dog with, like, red eyes. Quite albino, but...
Yeah. What's a good name for a orange-brown hyper dog?
Demerara.
Demimonde.
Demimonde.
I'm feeling Demimonde, guys.
Yeah, who's going to win? Musk there, like...
Okay.
Musk will think it's a joke, and Zuckerberg will go in and sweep him.
Alright, see, that's kind of where I was at. Like, just, off the top of my head, have to give an answer, Zuck would win. Because I have a feeling that Zuck has more to prove, and is more angry, and would be more crazy, depending on what kind of rules there are in the fight. Yeah, like, I think Musk would, go into robot mode and just, bah! And, I don't know.
Yeah, obviously being tall and... a bit bulky, there's a physical advantage, but like some of those dudes, especially older dudes, like if you watch them, they're quite awkward to move. I mean, I remember like watching this really tall dude in Mexico play basketball, and like he was so tall, but he couldn't jump. He couldn't run. Like he was just sort of awkwardly built, and Musk's a bit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
he does not look like he's in good shape at all.
Well, no. I mean, no.
you know, I mean, for somebody, you know, like in terms of like being athletic, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, my bet would be on Zuck. You know, I just think he's got more to prove. He'd be more hardcore.
I think being 5'1", I'd be at a disadvantage against both of them. But like Musk, I think I could try and dance around him, and people would be like, "Look at that! Is that Muhammad Ali? That tiny white man?"
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
and
definitely...
I could possibly tire Musk out.
You're
Whereas,
more built than Musk is. I'll say that, looking at him. Same height, but I don't know.
No, Musk's 6'5".
Or, sorry, not Musk, Zuck.
Zuck.
Yeah.
No, he's got stringy strength.
Yeah,
He's
you
got nerd
got,
rage.
you gotta look out for that, yeah. Stringy strength, yeah. Because size and strength aren't the same thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say which one's crazier, because I bet, like, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, but I bet you could go into the ring and just, like, do that, and then one of you be like, well, fair enough, and be like, yeah, good. Like, I bet you wouldn't have to, like, hurt Elon, or Elon wouldn't have to hurt you for it to be over. Whereas with Zuck, I think it'd be like, right, this is a fight to the death, and I'm going straight in for the solar plexus, I'm going straight in for the cock and balls and the throat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Who would win? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, dead air.
What if this makes Zuckerberg popular when he accidentally kills Elon Musk in the thing, and you realise that, what is it, the Octagon, where they're going to do it, like, it's just full of people going, Zuck, 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 he feasts on the blood of his prey!
I imagine that in both of their minds, that's the scenario that they see it ending with for each of them.
Whereas it's actually going to be full of influencers.
Yeah.
Who are like,
Yeah.
oh.
That's the world now, yeah.
No, I want the Vegas crowd who are like bloodthirsty at boxing, and like putting like 10 G's on it to be at the front, like fucking kill him, like yeah, like whilst they're squeezing ladies in fur coats, and things like that. Okay,
Vegas. Yeah.
Vegas. What next?
That was our main stuff. We mentioned talking about Project Zomboid or RimWorld, what we're each playing this week. But
Oh right, yeah.
but I don't know. Why don't we save that?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm about ready for lunch.
Okay. Well, I had nothing to say in RimWorld other than I've played RimWorld since like Alpha 16. I still play it. I have a ridiculous amount of hours on it, like 2,000 hours. Yeah. And recently I've been playing with my colony of snapping turtles, who are vicious and efficient.
Turtles.
War turtles. They're great because you can feed them both.
I was gonna sneeze. Sorry.
Go on then.
Continue. Apologies all around.
They're great because you can feed them vegetables and meat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I
it's
was
more convenient.
looking
than
over
dogs.
your shoulder last night at you getting attacked and like 30 turtles just slowly walking across a field towards some dudes with like big guns. And they're getting them, you know, your turtle army. It was good.
Yeah, I lost one turtle.
Yeah.
And like when you look on the injuries and it's like hand bitten off by turtle.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, did you ever use boomalopes?
I have used them. I find they're more trouble than they're worth, but they're very fun.
I get rid of them immediately if one turns up to my base, because
Right.
I'm not dealing with that shit.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I ran a couple of colonies where I had the settings on, so if anything dies, it explodes.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't you also had colonies where you've got like 100 cats? There's just cats everywhere.
Yeah, I've definitely had colonies where I've like had to like I just can't keep up with the chickens. Like I have to set the fucking chicken pen on fire because I just can't kill them quick enough.
Yeah.
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 Things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. And you've been
Definitely.
playing Project Zomboid.
I have. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. It's a isometric, like overhead zombie game. I can't remember how we got into it. I think there was a point where we were like itching to play a game together.
I found it.
Yeah, I think we were looking at zombie games. I was like, oh, that could be fun. And yeah, I mean, it's a fun game, very simple style, but it definitely over time becomes more of like a stockpiling game depending on your settings.
It's a great game. It obviously is trying to be a simulator, and it's definitely the most like accurate zombie game where you have to hide. You can't just face them. You you don't make noise.
You can also fine tune your settings like really closely to like, how do you want, what speed do the zombies move at? How far do they hear? How short or long is their memory?
Yeah.
What's their vision range?
How many are there? How
many are there? And then when they do they gather together in groups? And when they do, what's the maximum size of that group? And and there's all kinds of just fun stuff like the random events are pretty good. The helicopter event, every time I hear that noise, there's like a helicopter flying overhead, and then the zombies are just drawn to it. And if the helicopter sees you, it'll follow you around, which can be a nightmare.
So you'll just end up with a horde
following you wherever you go. Yeah.
It's fun.
It's really fun, yeah.
It just, it sort of inevitably gets to a point after the first few days where you contain the threat.
Depending on how you play it.
Depending on how you play it, you can make it harder, yeah.
You can get to a point where, because the real impetus at the beginning of the game is to, start establishing a base someplace safe, There's different things you can do to make it safe, You can either get in and out of your base if it's on a second floor and you destroy, the entrance. You can use a rope or sheet rope to climb up and down through a window, but then the zombies can yank it down. And you can use a sledgehammer to knock out, floor tiles so they can't get to you. And then once you really work that out, it can get to a point where you're too safe.
Yeah.
And then you kind of slow down because as of yet, there isn't an end game to it.
Yeah.
So that can be frustrating, but
yeah. I remember doing we like to use mods on things, but I remember doing an unmodded game where I tried to make Jack Packard.
Yes.
Yes. It was a board character. It's that looks a bit like Jack Packard, slightly. I like Jack Packard, so I'll play as Jack Packard. And I decided I'd go and live in the woods and in a cabin. And I thought, I'll just live in the woods and I'll make it so that he is basically outside all the time. He's a park ranger, he's going to live in the woods, he's going to grow his own stuff, he's going to eventually build a log wall. And then I started in the city, driving around, get a car to drive to the woods, get some stuff, going to need a saw, things like that. And then when I got there, and I found the woods and everything, and started making my base, I realised that I'd wanted to give him claustrophobic as a trait. He's always outside, but I gave him agoraphobic. So he's an agoraphobic park ranger.
Living in the woods, yeah.
And that was really fun, and I contained the threat, started to build my base and everything, and then I was driving around and I got bored and drove too quickly and smashed into a car and died. Which is kind of very realistic if you think about it, but also I can see more than 30 meters ahead of me.
Yeah, it can be frustrating, especially because there's no save feature in the game as of yet. That's one of the most frustrating parts. So if you spend hours and hours, getting your character up to a place where they've got all these skills and they've
because you can respawn as a new character.
You respawn. Yes, as a new character. You can make the same character, but you won't have all your belongings, you won't have your skills and all your experience, so it's starting over. And I can see how that could be a fun play style if you wanted it to be, but I'd much prefer the option to save a game and be able to just reload.
Yeah, it was fun for me on my playthrough, but then after that it was I don't think I died unfairly like that. Yeah, and part of the game is being patient. But it was kind of well, I don't want to play this now.
Yeah, I get you. But there can be,
You taught me.
There's so much variety that you can find yourself in some really fun scenarios. Definitely still my favorite of our playthroughs was the mall.
Yeah.
We went to the big mall, and what were we doing? We were okay, let's seal everything up in the mall. There's, 10 entrances. I think we got everything sealed up, and then we...
Lived on the second floor.
Lived on the second floor. And then we decided to go to the movie theater next door and see what was going on there. And then got kind of followed by a horde.
We opened the door to the movie theater and there were 10,000 zombies in there.
Yes, we're we gotta go. So we get back in the car, our van, and we're driving back to the mall. And then we were getting swarmed, so I think we got out of the van and we're let's just run inside so they can't get to us.
Yeah.
But I forgot to turn the key off in the van, and they're drawn to noise. So then we ended up at a point where we're standing in the mall on the second floor looking out the windows, at like 10,000 zombies like just
Headbanging.
headbanging to in a big circle around this van, and then was it yeah, like that, all at the same pace and everything. It was pretty fun to watch. And then we realized, oh shit, we forgot to block off a stairwell. Let's go.
And as we were doing that,
we open a door and there's like thousands of zombies rushing up the stairs.
So we had to run through several rooms and like, didn't you have to like destroy the floor? I had to destroy the floor around a doorway so that they would drop through from the second floor to the bottom floor, and then the bottom floor was full of zombies. So then we couldn't leave, really. Yeah. That was a very fun playthrough. Yeah, that was fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good.
Yeah.
That's what we've been playing.
Yeah, I'm probably going to play some more of that later.
Good.
Yeah.
I shall play more of Turtles.
Turtle Army.
Turtle World.
Turtle World.
All right, anything else?
I think that was just about it for today that I had.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think that's just about it for now.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
Great. Well, thanks very much for watching. You can support us on Patreon. You can follow me on Twitter. I guess we still have a Facebook page on. Do people still talk to us on Facebook?
Yeah, you get stuff there.
Yeah.
Here and there, but
here and there.
I mean, most of the actual interactions that you have on social media, when you feel like posting anything, is on Twitter usually.
Yeah.
Just,
it used to be Facebook was really good. I would talk to everyone who talked to me on Facebook, and then it just got to be just spam, purely spam.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah.
I'll save that moaning for next week. All right. Have a good week.
More moaning to come. Thank you.
More moaning. Bye bye.
See ya.